debilitating conditions like depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, or even if you're battling addiction, and you can find a way to talk with your doctor or a doctor and use these compounds in a way that might be helpful to you, I think it's worth investigating. I think it's worth looking into. All right, but again, I'm not, and I personally for myself, I don't have any objection to them being used as recreational drugs as long as they're used carefully. But I understand that a lot of people are wary of that, and that's fine. That's just my point of view. I feel like if marijuana is able to be, used in that way, as it's starting to become commonly used, I think these drugs can be too, because they don't have the kind of detrimental effects that things like alcohol even have on your body. But I think what scares people the most about it is that it can change your mind. And not in a bad way. But if you are very attached to the way things are, as many of us are, if you're scared of change, if you're holding on to things being the way they are because you just don't know how they might be otherwise, then taking something that changes all of that would be quite frightening. So that's the reason I feel like we have invented these stories around these drugs. Not to say that they haven't had incidents of that nature, but the fear level that's around them is so disproportional to any actual side effects that these drugs like psilocybin have, that it's really kind of interesting that we've created this fear story around them. But I think that's why. Anyway, quickly, I'm sorry, we'll get more into the slow food movement next week, but I'll just touch on a little bit here because I think it's an important wellness topic, and while we're changing our minds, we can also be changing our diets and the way that we eat and the way we look at food. So the slow food movement started in the 1980s in Italy, and it encourages people to slow the pace of life in order to truly savor not only foods and beverages, but the pleasure of eating and the companionship of friends and family sitting around the table. If you grew up like I did, and many of us did, where you had dinner with the family every night, mom made dinner, it's on the table, everybody came in, and you had the meal and you talked with each other, or hopefully you talked with each other. Times have changed, and oftentimes that's not doable for everybody, at least not every day. But the idea that you might make an effort to at least a couple of times a week have that kind of experience might be sort of a healing kind of thing. So traditional foods that are fresh and made from local ingredients and served during leisurely meals are the focus of the movement. So it's kind of a response to or a reaction to the fast food environment that we have come to embrace. So part of the whole deal is looking for organically grown local produce, which is more and more available in supermarkets, depending on where you live. And then part of it is the atmosphere in which you eat. If you're eating over the sink, that might not be the healthiest way to enjoy a meal. So yeah, I want to dive into some other more tips about how to, you know, engage with this slow food movement idea. Uh, so we'll talk more about that next week. But our time is running out here. My goodness, I went way over, but I still have some allotted time. So in the meantime, uh, change your mind. To make it more accepting and open, perhaps? Or just to be able to see things in a healthier way. See you next time.